Proverbs is more than a biblical fortune cookie. Maybe you've heard it called that. It's more than a holy horoscope. I've even heard some people say the book of Proverbs is like Twitter written by a smart Christian guy. When people think of Proverbs, maybe they think of little short, pithy sayings that help you move forward in life, that are practical wisdom, that advise you on what you should do. I think if you really get into the book of Proverbs, it's more than just knowing the right things. It's actually knowing the right person. The author of the book of Proverbs was King Solomon. He's writing this book to his sons. They're going to be the future kings. And he's trying to pass down his wisdom so that they'll be good rulers one day, that they'll understand how to lead people and live lives of significance. His resume? I mean, you gotta be a pretty smart guy with a lot of things on your resume if you're going to write a book on wisdom. Well, here's King Solomon's resume. Right before he became king, God asked him one question. Anything you want, I'll give it to you. We find that in 1 Kings 3. In verse 5, it says, "That night the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream, and God said, 'What do you want? Ask, and I will give it to you.'" Whew, that's wild. It's kind of like having one wish from a magic lamp with a genie in it. What would you ask for? If God appeared to you and said one thing right now, you name it and it's yours, what would your response be? Well, we see Solomon's in verse 9. "Give me an understanding heart so that I can govern your people well and know the difference between right and wrong. For who by himself is able to govern this great people of yours?" The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for wisdom. So God replied, "Because you've asked for wisdom in governing my people with justice, and have not asked for a long life or wealth or the death of your enemies," probably what I would have asked for, God says, "I'll give you what you want. I will give you a wise and understanding heart, such as no one else has had or ever will have." God posed the question to Solomon, and Solomon says, if you're asking me if I could have anything in this world, God, make me wise. If you're telling me I'm going to be the king, I'm going to need a lot of help from you. And in the very next chapter, we read what God does. God gave Solomon great wisdom and understanding and knowledge as vast as the sands on the seashore. In fact, his wisdom exceeded that of all the wise men of the East and the wise men of Egypt. He was wiser than anyone else. His fame spread throughout all of the surrounding nations. He asked for wisdom, and Scripture says that not only was he the wisest man on the face of the earth at the time, but Scripture says that no man would come before or after him. That means that even in 2024, in all of the advancements with technology and medicine, that to this day, when it comes to wisdom, Solomon still is the greatest. And the answer to that prayer, God, give me wisdom, the words that God spoke and imparted to Solomon, are some of the texts that we find in the book of Proverbs. It's the answer that God was so impressed when Solomon asked the question and received it from the Lord. So now, it's our turn. Join us for 31 days in 31 chapters of Proverbs. It's time to get smart. The book of Proverbs.